Hello everybody in YouTube, LuckyMes205 here, and today we are gonna do some interestingly different video I have not foreseen in my YouTube career in these last 5 years, but let's put that aside. We are gonna dive in possibility of future or possibility to become a meta ship. Or going through metamorphosis, something called a transformation from cognitive mind to making evolvement something a bit more different. Well, that is poorly explanation from my end. But however, now that Azur Lane has been going on with the 5 years and probably 5 more years to come, I guess it's now a great day and great moment to speculate and do some more theories about the game. What are the metamorphosis ships in the future? What is metamorphosis? Well, there's actually a great event happened in recent years that actually explains what is needed to actually start the transformation for meta. But what is a ship girl and what is the source of this metamorphosis? Well, first things first, the ship girl, basically called Kansen. The ship girl and the Kansen is built by the material that no one knows where it's come from. It has been found in some way and some place we do not know. But according to the Operation Siren files, the cube, so to say, that has been used as a main source to manufacture a ship's keel. And with that same material, you can also create something like, according to the files, a weaponry. And the ship girls in this Azur Lane have confirmed this. That they are, in extending way, a weapon. That have weaponries and riggings that has been based on some kind of weapon or object that has been created in a normal method. It has been transformed by using this interesting abilities that Wisdom Cube offers. Also, it has been recorded that Wisdom Cube also works as a power source. But what comes with the Wisdom Cube is not now part of the video, but it's the main source of the Wisdom Cube. How they also is the main source of corruption towards the metamorphosis. Because it also affects the ship girl's cognitive mind that also activates. And what comes with the meta ships? All ship girls are not from the same world. And what comes with the dimension and the information of the transformation? Branches, dimensions, other worlds is also offered in this interesting story. In the event called Tower of Transcendence, if I recall the name correctly. Tower of Transcendence. It also tells the expedition made by Iron Blood themselves that has been first a puppets of the Sirens that has been the main threat of the world that where you as a commander are. From there, the Ironblood is doing some research what you can find beyond the portal of this branch or dimension, or what was again the place they actually managed to find it. During this event, you actually find Gneisenau, but is in other form that is actually went through the metamorphosis. The main transformation to change the ship girl and the hull also comes with the Scharnhorst itself. Of course, Scharnhorst appears later in the game. The main found did by the Ironblood was the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau META. Sadly, what comes with the story of Gneisenau META is something like Gneisenau META in her world. She lost everything. Literally. Her sisters, her friends, her country, even the important persons that actually wanted to keep the factions together. I think it's something commander related stuff or someone other. But that is not actually the main reason I am showing you this clip. The main reason to show this clip is because this might be actually an unnecessarily long one, something like 5 minutes or so, but it actually Gneisenau informs what is going through in this metamorphosis or meta transformation, as well as what comes with the Scharnhorst meta herself. She is from another world, meaning that Ironblood is from their own world. They traveled to the other world, or other branch, so to say, and met Gneisenau META. However, the Ashes faction that has been collected from other branches to fight against the Sirens and their leader. However, that's not the point. In this moment, metamorphosis, when cube corrupts the whole, erratic emotion causes withdrawal symptoms of cognitive awakening. The day I lost Scharnhorst, my own sister, right in front of my eyes, I had to kill my own heart to continue fighting. That is actually a sad story, the backstory the Gneisenau META had to go through to activate that transformation. Because the Sirens did not see her world as a nothing more. They did as a test ground of their future weapons. And it seems the Scharnhorst survived her own world in some way, but Gneisenau META lost everything and survived her own. Which is actually a sad thing. But she gained her mind back after she met Ulrich von Hutten and her voyage expedition team. So Gneisenau META got her memory back, and she joined the Ironblood fleet. I think temporarily or permanently, I do not know, but that's all up to the Joestar story writers in this Azur Lane world. However, now that we have gone through this embarrassingly bad metamorphosis subject about to metamorphosis. 10 minutes has been spent perfectly. We are now doing some, let's just say, theories, speculations, and probably interesting point of views. Who could be a next meta ship, so to say? When it comes to the meta ships, if I count correctly, there is now 25 meta ships. Also in story there is probably more. Enterprise meta and Takao meta. But they are known in different language. Something like Code G and Amber. Enterprise meta is Code G and Amber is Takao, if I remember the name correctly. Takao is the one with the strong sense of training, with the sword plays and all that, using the katana. Sardegna Empires, Eagle Unions, Royal Navies, Iron Blood, and Iris Libres has been got their own versions of meta ships. But how about we go deeper? How about we start a theory? What could be a next meta ship in the next 5 years, or in probability to become a meta ship, in my opinions? First, we are going to take a look at the Iron Blood itself. Of course, there is a Gneisenau meta, Scharnhorst meta, and U556 meta. Actually, what comes with the U556 is actually a lore-driven transformation, because she got corrupted in a close proximity towards the Bismarck in the Show of Iron and Blood event that happened 2 years or 3 years ago when Bismarck was released. Bismarck used the Black Cube to do some, probably using some method to defeat Sirens, but accidentally become or unawarely became a puppet of Sirens. So the Bismarck self-destruct her rigging to be free from the Black Cube. However, she was fighting the Royal Navy itself that actually started the Bismarck's well-known voyage, the Rheinbahn. But U556 was close by to actually see the Bismarck sinking to the bottom of the ocean and managed to save her. However, because of unknown behaviors of the Black Cube corrupted Bismarck, her hull, and also in a outside side also affect the U556, that in one event where we get Bismarck's way, also witness the unpredicted transformation of U556 transformation to meta version, which extensively changes her look. However, her personality stays the way, but that is extends outside transformation, but not the inside side like the Bismarck had. However, Bismarck is not the only victim of the Black Cube. And now we are going from the outside of that story of the Iron Blood and their story with the Black Cube I actually took some long times, let's just say honestly almost 5 hours to do some research, in my opinions, from all 600 characters in this game, who could be a probability, a perfect metamorphosis, transformation, or, well, victim is not the right word, but ending up to become next meta ship. There were many ships I took on, and one of them I had in mind from Ironblood was Z-23. The reason I took Z-23 first is because what could her backstory be? And what could actually be a good background for her transformation to be a meta ship? Well, at first I did some historical research. What is the 23's backstory herself? Well, sadly I forgot her nickname temporarily, but hopefully I will remember that again. But is Z-23 a good choice to be a next meta ship? We actually do not know, because in the Eagle Union, Helena became a meta ship in her own world. Also thing with the Queen Elizabeth from Royal Navy, and with the La Galissoniere from Irish Orthodoxy. Or what was it again? So, at first I could think about the way for Z-23 to become meta ship is something like she wins some kind of past situation against the Sirens that actually starts the corruption and starts metamorphosis. But maybe, in theory, I don't see Z-23 to be a perfect candidate, because in this one Eco Union event we could almost see a Javelin 2 Riggin, but that's in some other world that we do not know anything about in story and so forth. So I talked about again a perfect candidate to start the metamorphosis, but before we go that, the backstory of Z-23 and her defeat in her real life story is something like this. Transferred back to France in early 43, where she resumed her former role of escorting ships through the Bay of Biscay, which were threatened by Allied aircraft and cruisers attempting to prevent Allied blockade runners from reaching port through the bay. One such mission resulted in the Battle of the Bay of Biscay at the end of the year, in which Z-23 played a minor role. On August 12, she was bombed by British heavy bombers and was declared a constructive total loss. So I was thinking about it. Perhaps she could be the good meta ship? But in Azur Lane world? Probably not. But I'm not sure. It all depends on the storytellers of the Azur Lane. But then there is a second person in the Ironblood that I could see a perfect candidate to become a meta ship. And that is none other than a failed aircraft carrier project, Graf Zeppelin, I'm afraid. Well, according to Azur Lane and Cross Waves information about Graf Zeppelin, she despises everything she sees, but inside she is actually a woman who wants to be saved by someone who can actually help her. That's why she always speaks a little bit of interesting way that I do not know a word yet. But there was a word in Inverted Authentic that actually explained the way that Graf Zeppelin likes to talk. In Crossway World, and what about the Crossway World, is like the Crossway World is like another branch. Their cubes are not known, but however the actions between other factions is still remembered. Like Rodney and Hood against the Bismarck, and after that fight, Bismarck went hidden, but then after the Agakian found the cube, they actually started the Crosswave tournament, where every faction from different world, well, some factions joined this interesting event that Akagi put on to find more cubes. And Graf Zeppelin in that series acted as Ironblood teacher in one school, if I remember correctly. Because Friedrich der Gross acted like a higher up in the school, like the leader of the school that has been put on the role. And Rune was a student, and Z23 was like a student helper or something like that. But what comes with the perfect transformation of Graf Zeppelin's metamorphosis? Well, as a little bit failed carrier of the Kriegsmarine, she could see the fate of her homeland and wishes to see all things burned down just because she couldn't do nothing. So being a worthless would actually be a perfect motive to destroy everything. Yes, a revenge. Well, that doesn't sound perfect, but in a small point of view, understanding the Graf Zeppelin behavior, it could be a perfect cognition awakening towards that process. But that just all depends in theory and my own opinions. Will that actually be a perfect carrier to be next metamorphosis from Iron Blood? The next nation, Northern Parliament, was a really difficult one for me. It had some ships that could potentially be a meta ship. Unfortunately, I didn't find any perfect candidate to be a metamorphosis next meta ship. Aurora was a nice one, but then again I was like, well, she could be interesting meta ship, Aurora meta ship, but is it actually what is the next level from super rare? Because U556 was elite. Then after meta transformation, she became super rare. So there must be some kind of formula or some kind of reason to turn a common ship to a elite ship, or elite ship to a super rare ship. So what is with the Kronstadt moment? Why I chose a Kronstadt from Northern Parliament? Well, that all goes back to the one of the main events from the Northern Parliament. One of the events, Northern Parliament expedition led by Kronstadt, managed to control the submarine that had the ability to go deep of the underwater, and they located some kind of meteor rock that had some interesting properties that they needed to take a look closer. However, that rock was something more that no one did not expect it to be, while Kronstadt was alone in mind. That same meteor rock also started some kind of mental theater, something like, you are there, but you are not here, kind of perspective way. Kronstadt was in laboratory with one of her friends. Once she started the advice that was connected to this mysterious rock, Kronstadt found herself alone. And what comes with the other ship girls, they actually notice they go somewhere else when the rock has been activated some way that there is no clear explanation, because that events are so complicated to my mind to actually try to memorize it fully. However, that rock holds the key of corruption. Kronstadt met someone in her cognitive world that almost led a metamorphosis activation to Kronstadt, and in a nick of time, 2% away from 100% activation, she remembered what she actually cares about, who are important to her, and what she cares the most. She is not a weapon, but she is a person, and she has a nation and people and friends and loved ones to protect. And that kind of mindset saved Kronstadt from metamorphosis transformation. That was just 2% away. And all that, some sort of big chunk of rock and some kind of machine. That event was so... that needs to be more research, that Kronstadt event. Why that actually happened and how. What secrets it holds of that meteor. So Kronstadt, almost meta, but avoided transformation from 2%. Could be good meta ship, or as a ultra rare ship, or she will become super rare Kronstadt meta ship. Does it actually works? It's an opinion matter, because in my opinion she could fit to be, but also not, because she was survived on metamorphosis, but actually got a taste of corruption almost. Now we come to the Sardegna Empire. Of course, there is a Trento from Sardegna Empire, if my memory serves right, and some other ships from other nations, but I think that Trento, if I remember right, Trento is from Sardegna Empire. And there was someone else, but I don't remember who, so I was thinking about who could be a perfect candidate of next metamorphosis, so I did tossing a coin, tossing a other stuff, actually went deep dive mining who could be a perfect, and And then I just took some random look of her stats and her skills. I didn't actually look her history, but I did hear some kind of naval fight with a carabineer, if I pronounce her name right. Second, Sarnegna Empire meta ship, Carabinier. Is it possible? Well, maybe. Is it good? Probably yes. Because in her stats according to the game, her skills mention something like her torpedoes do 50% more damage 3 times. So I took that as a good point of view for next meta ship skill for her, Carabinier meta, but that actually sounds kind of ridiculous way to improve the Carabinier to become meta ship. But what is the Carabinier's backstory to start a meta then? Well, in my mind, she could actually... Well, what I recall from her stories in the game itself, she did travel a lot to the Iron Blood and, well, across the world and did something else. And then coming back home, knowing that Marco Polo almost destroyed her home with some kind of siren god illusion. That's the story in her game this far. But what could she be a good Sartekna Empire meta ship next one? I could think yes, because Trento is kinda alone for now. Same goes with the Algeri. Legalisonier also. And I'm sorry if I pronounce those names badly, but that's how it is for the man who has bad pronouncing skill for other language. Carabinier meta. Well, she will become a super rare in the meta standards. And also, what could her look be? Well, having a gun in a hand, I think it would be an interesting point of view to look. How much the gun evolves also, or does it actually look the same, but her look and her style changes. Meta's DD ship, I think we have some of them, but not actually good ones, or some bad ones. There are good bad ones also, but I don't know how the meta ships works perfectly, but I hope Carabinier meta could make some good meta destroyer. Hopefully, in my opinion. Now we are going to the Royal Navy. And we are starting with the legend herself. Mighty Hood, a battlecruiser Hood, also the one who stood against the Bismarck in Denmark Strait and also got blown up. But in Azur Lane she also got blown up by Bismarck because Bismarck used a secret weapon, and that secret weapon was a black cube. And some miracle happened and the Hood survived to back home, but her rigging was completely destroyed. And she has been long days in a port and have seen no action whatsoever after the fight of Bismarck. Because the Black Cube managed to corrupt the Hood's cubes so badly that she was in a merge of time. However, Hood saved by Monarch from the Black Cube sickness. I don't see Hood as a meta ship because Hood survived in Commander's world, the metamorphosis, or actually, if I remember correctly, she was so badly damaged to the core that her the very cube itself was so badly damaged, and the corruption that actually did her heal led to the point that she was basically dying in the bed. But thanks to the monarch's strong will to survive her friend, to save her friend, she went to the other side of the singularity. That's the name that the Iron Blood did, the singularity, and find the cure. Also, the Royal Navy had some information from Commander about the cubes, but however, because how the nations are still at war with each other in the Commander's world, Queen Elizabeth couldn't ask cure from Bismarck because Bismarck is on Iron Blood and the Iron Blood is basically against Royal Navy in theory or hidden story, but I think not. So basically Hood could become next ultra rare for the Royal Navy because she survived Black Cube corruption like Bismarck did. Thanks to the Iron Blood's strong ambitions to be freed from Sirens ropes, being like a puppets. And after Friedrich did her part to find the cure, Bismarck returned as a flagship of the Iron Blood fleet. Hood 2, second Hood, ultra rare Hood, mighty Hood, ultra rare mighty Hood could be an interesting development of her story, but I don't see her as a meta ship. And Javelin. Possibly, but maybe not. Javelin is very high energy ship girl, and her becoming a meta ship could be really dark, because someone like Javelin becoming a meta ship, the event needs to be so drastic that activates the Javelin's metamorphosis. Actually, what activates the metamorphosis, like the Gneisenau did, Gneisenau lost everything to activate the meta transformation. And what could be a Javelin's personality after that? I don't really know, but do I really want to know? I don't know, does it actually change that much? But I guess there is some kind of leaking feelings that actually she is broken, sad, but also tries to cover that with a fake happiness? Or something like she becomes adult, like accepting her fate and joining the Ashes? I don't know. Maybe Javelin is not a perfect candidate for being a meta ship because I don't see potential in her, but I could be wrong. But what is your opinion about Javelin to be a next meta ship? And now, Edinburgh could be perfect meta, but at what cost? Edinburgh is a Belfast big sister. And Belfast is a main mate of the Royal Navy, a perfect mate, so to say. But to lose something to start the metamorphosis, I could see Edinburgh as a meta ship, but does her personality change? I could see her as a reflection of a being bad big sister, or not being a good enough to save her little good little sister Belfast. I don't know, does that work? But it could be a dark backstory for metamorphosis transformation like Gneisenau did. But there are still some holes of other transformations to metamorphosis that they actually want to keep secret because other metaship doesn't want to talk about it. Why did that happen and how did that happen? But what comes with Edinburgh, in my theory, it could actually be a losing home, losing sisters, becoming mad, and then actually starts destroying everything. Just an rage in a sorrow until she becomes a broken big sister in mind. However, in story perhaps there could be a cure to repair her mind to see her little sister fine in other branch, in a commander's branch. So she could actually get her sanity back. But also, I could see her a little bit not as a meta ship. Could be, but at what cost? But then it struck me in paper a good shape, meta ship, but also a send it to other place, then sees home destroyed. In a way, in the paper. Shropshire, in history, she was sent to other country to be a Royal Australian Navy heavy cruiser. So when she was transferred there, then she heard the siren attack. Sirens destroys the world, destroys everything to just as being a test site for their weapons. Shropshire in her world survives that great extinction, but sees her fellow home destroyed, and as being a high energy girl and a little bit clumsy one, in personality way, she could go a drastic transformation of the metamorphosis that actually changes her high personality as a little bit sad one and not so clumsy one, and she is actually doing her best, although she becomes a meta ship, like there is something left in her. But yet again, metamorphosis is something that corrupts the whole itself, that actually changed the girls and the Rickin's log totally. If you thus start to compare other ship girls to the meta versions, you can actually see how drastically their logs change. So, Shropshire meta, there is something that I could see her as a good next meta ship in the Azur Lane, and possibly a good heavy cruiser also as a meta ship. And here we go. this is my opinions of, in theory, and possibly a good meta ships or candidates to be next meta ships, and my opinions about could be next meta ships and their transformations to start the whole process. This was something a little bit different. I had other ideas to make next Azur Lane video, but then again I actually struck me about a next meta ship in theory, but also a speculating a next meta ship, and also as a great interest of a becoming a meta ship. This is my opinions, 100% and my own. If you have anything else in mind who could be a next meta ship, leave comments down below, let me know what you think about meta ships. Are they worthy? And how do they affect the story itself this far? Because meta ships has a great influence in the story itself this far, that they actually holds the answers how to stop the sirens, but they do not know yet because they also needs to find the main source of troubles, that actually a observer 0, a leader siren, actually is doing this in other branches. So yeah, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. Of my 100% my own opinions, next meta ships in theory and in paper. Hope you're having a good time, and I hope you happy weekend, and see you in the next video, and take care. Bye bye.